Tommy, as I usually do, just to acknowledge your contribution and your fortitude and perseverance and patience organizing this. I know we've had a few postponements, all these public holidays and these four day weeks in which we still try to do 5 days work, some of us. And I trust you all had a happy and safe Easter. Tamia, once again, talking about statutory bodies and vis-a-vis voluntary associations. I know Mlondi is an electrical engineer by training, you know. It's okay, Mlondi, no one's perfect, okay? But, you know, Tommy, I'm just curious to know and understand, and but you've been in the field for some time. If you can just go, when did you finish your engineering studies?
Yeah, this is my 6th year now, post graduation. Yeah,
it's been a while, and I know it's electrical engineering, and I don't have much exposure there in terms of the actual voluntary associations. Even though I understand that it's the umbrella body for your specific engineering discipline is EXA.
Yes, and our voluntary association. Well, there are others as well, but the main one it's South African Institute for Electrical Engineers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, no problem. So my interest really, and I'm going to use this as perhaps a dipstick, and not necessarily as a definitive. I mean, I'm not going to take your answers as definitive, but based on your anecdotal experience, is how well understood is the difference between, or the existence actually, that there's such a thing as before we talk about the difference, the existence of professional bodies, if we can call them that, because there's this thing of professional bodies, but the distinction then is between those professional bodies are usually organized in just 2 simple categories: the statutory bodies for registration purposes of individual persons, as well as the voluntary associations that deal, of course, with issues of registration, CPD, but also more specifically with issues of trade and commerce and your life out there as practicing electrical engineers. So, you know, when did you become aware that there are professional bodies out there in your studies or after studying?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I only learned about okay, well, you made a distinction that of course they are regulatory bodies, and then there are the VAs, which they also call the professional bodies as well. With regard to the professional body, the Engineering Council of South Africa, I learned about it while I was still at varsity. Okay. Because in some of the courses, you would have to complete some forms to indicate that you have met certain outcomes. In fact, this thing of outcomes, I learned about it while I was still at varsity, because some of the courses, they are in fact curtailed such that you need to meet certain outcomes, which certain EXA outcomes. So I learned about the professional registration body when I was at varsity, but I only learned about the voluntary association when I started my career. I started my career at ESCOM. So there were some of my colleagues were members of the voluntary association, the main one, which is the South African Institute for Electrical Engineering. And what I found it very interesting is that most of them were members. In fact, were actually members of the South African Institute for Electrical Engineers, but were not members of EXA. Because for some reasons, and I've noticed this thing, that most people, more especially in state-owned companies, and I'm just going to make a very general statement, that they don't register. You know, there are some people there that have been working for 20 years some 30 years, they've never bothered to register. And what I've established as one of the reasons why they've never bothered to register is because it doesn't limit, it's not career limiting. So they can still get promoted and go all the way up. But so in that way, they don't see really the essence of registering. Another, as in why they are members of the Institute of the South African Institute for Electrical Engineering, I'm not sure, because one would assume that you become the member of the regulatory board, and then you become the member of the voluntary association in order to gain the CPD point. But you find that most. And then another thing that which I've gathered, because I was very interested in this particular topic, when I was conversing with some, they said being a member of X is useless. At least if you are a member of SAI, you can attend some courses and get discount on certain certain courses, which will be beneficial to you. So it was more of the issue of EXA does nothing for me, but at least if I'm a member of SAI, I'll be discounted on courses which are going to assist me in growing as a professional. Just to answer your question, I've only learned about the professional bodies, the other professional bodies when I started my engineering training program at ESCOM.
Okay, I think for me that is very telling. That is very telling. Yes, I mean I can't just apply that, but I've been with the regulatory body for the last 7 years, so I think there's certain things perhaps I can say based on my own anecdotal evidence. I found it quite instructive that you got to know about a professional body, and I'm using and I'm being deliberate by using the phrase professional body, because it's an adopted phrase, or in manner of speaking, we call them professional bodies, and sometimes I get the feeling they're taken or they're understood to mean or refer to the same thing when they don't. And so, and that's why I asked, when did you become aware of it? And you said you become a regulatory body when you're at university. Now I'm saying that could just be you, or that could be your entire class and others that came for you. So, but I'm not going to now sit here and try and be clever and extrapolate that then therefore it's not just you, all of you in your class didn't know, okay? Maybe you're just being a lazy bugger. You didn't research enough.
I doubt.
You're busy partying. But seriously, Mlondi, you got to know about it at the university. You got to know about voluntary associations after university, so post-graduation. It means during your university career, there was never interaction, there were never initiatives, there was never an awareness created, communication, even from the lecturing staff. But, oh, by the way, we're giving you work around professional bodies or statutory bodies, and you did what you did, and those outcomes as you describe it. But the lecturing staff didn't go as far as to say, but hang on, they're not the only ones. There's also a voluntary association, or there are voluntary associations for each and every other discipline, considering that in engineering, I think first or second year or something, you're all together. You start splitting third or fourth, something like that. So I was curious, and I think that question has confirmed some of my observations. I remember saying responding to your question previously, I don't know if you're part of, I think, you were part of it with Nomvula and Petra, that what I've observed is that whenever regulatory bodies go to institutions of higher learning for their program accreditation cycles, which is every 5 years, and that's prescribed, they have to do that. It doesn't mean they can't go in between. They never go together or attempt to go together with their sister voluntary associations. They go on their own. And so that connection or the opportunity to create that connection and awareness is lost. And you come into the industry as a graduate, and you've only ever heard about the regulatory body at university, but a voluntary association, you only hear about it in the world of work.